Princess Leora sat quietly inside the elegant but cold chamber of the Astravir Palace. Soft lights glowed around her, but she could not see them. She had never seen anything in her life. The world came to her as sounds, vibrations, and the flow of emotions she sensed from others. These things shaped her reality in a way that sight never could. Even though she was a princess, her life did not feel royal. It felt like a cage built from silence and expectation. Her people respected her bloodline, but not her blindness. And the one person who should have cared for her most, her husband, treated her like a problem to solve. Prince Valor entered the room with the sharp click of perfectly polished boots. Leora recognized his footsteps instantly. They were confident, heavy, and always carried a coldness that made her tense. Today, he sounded impatient. She sensed a restless mix of annoyance and hidden excitement inside him. She did not know the cause, but she could tell he had made a decision that affected her life. "Leora," he said, trying to keep his voice flat, "prepare yourself. You will travel with me to the trade station. There are matters to resolve." Leora lowered her head. "Do I have a choice?" "You do not need choices," Valor said sharply. "You only need to obey." She felt his irritation, but beneath it she sensed something else, something secretive, almost eager. That worried her more than his usual cruelty. Valor left without another word. The room seemed to empty of air the moment he walked out. Leora slowly touched the smooth surface of her chair, grounding herself. Whenever she felt lost, she focused on the small things, the cool texture beneath her fingers, the distant hum of the palace generators, the faint wind brushing against the balcony. These details reminded her that she existed, even when others acted like she did not. Soon, the guards arrived to escort her. Their movements were rigid and uncomfortable. She sensed unease from them, like they were part of something they did not agree with but could not refuse. That made her heart beat faster. Whatever was happening, it was bigger than a simple political errand. They guided her to a ship. She could tell this one was smaller than the royal vessels she usually traveled in. The engines vibrated with a roughness she was not used to. The air smelled of metal and old recycled oxygen. This was not a ship meant for royalty. It was a transport used for cargo and discreet travel. During the flight, no one spoke to her. She sat alone, hands resting on her lap, feeling the ship shake slightly each time it passed through pockets of energy. Her thoughts circled around her marriage, and how she had become little more than a tool in Valor's political world. She wondered if this voyage would be another moment where she would be placed on display as a symbol of royal unity, even though her marriage had none. When the ship finally landed, Leora felt the change immediately. Trade stations were filled with life, many species, many footsteps, many voices. Even though she could not see the crowd, she felt it vibrate through her bones. She sensed fear, anger, curiosity, greed, and excitement all mixing around her. It was overwhelming, but she managed to remain calm. Her husband walked ahead of her. As the guards pushed her forward, she sensed Valor's emotional state sharpen with anticipation. She heard unfamiliar footsteps approaching from a different direction. Heavy, deliberate, and full of confidence. The air changed. Somewhere nearby, voices spoke in a language she didn't understand, rough and harsh. A chill ran through her. The emotional presence she picked up from these newcomers was dark and cold. "Is this the one?" a deep voice asked. "Yes," Valor replied. "The princess. Pure blood. Valuable." The word valuable cut through her like a blade. Valuable to whom? She felt a large hand grip her arm. The emotion coming from the creature was not curiosity or interest, it was ownership. Possession. Her heart pounded. She pulled back instinctively, and the grip tightened. "No," she whispered. "Please." Before she could finish speaking, another voice entered the moment. It was firm, calm, and strangely warm. "Step away from her." Everything froze. The grip on her arm eased, but did not release. She sensed tension, like weapons were being drawn, or threats were being measured. A new presence approached. It felt completely different from the others. There was no greed, no anger, no cold ambition. This presence was bright with emotion, concern, protectiveness, and steady confidence. She did not know the species, but she knew one thing instantly. This was the kindest presence she had felt in many years. "She is clearly distressed," the stranger said. "And by interstellar law, you cannot force a sentient being into a contract without her consent." Valor scoffed. "Human. This matter does not concern your kind." "Ah. A human." Leora had never met one. She only heard stories. Emotional, unpredictable, far too empathetic for their own good. And yet, in this moment, she was grateful one was here. "It concerns me," the human said. "When someone is being hurt." The grip on Leora's arm tightened again, making her wince. The human's voice sharpened. "Let her go, now." Leora felt the emotional shift in the air. The creature holding her hesitated, then released her. The moment her arm was free, gentle hands rested lightly on her shoulders, not holding, just guiding her back from danger. "Are you all right?" the human asked softly. His voice carried real concern. Not duty, not politics. Real human care. I don't know," Leora whispered. Her body trembled. She felt the warmth of his presence supporting her, as if he was trying to shield her from the chaos around them. "Commander Aiden Rook," he introduced himself gently. "Human Diplomatic Corps." Leora sensed calm honesty inside him. No deception. No hidden motives. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe. Valor stepped forward, full of false outrage. "She is my wife. This is a private matter. Humans have no right to interfere." Aiden did not step back. His voice stayed strong. "Then let her speak for herself. Does she want to be taken by these people?" "Sing, men." Leora opened her mouth, but fear locked her throat. She sensed Valor's anger swelling. If she spoke against him, he would punish her later. She knew it. She had lived with that silent threat for years. Aiden seemed to sense her hesitation. He knelt slightly, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "You don't have to be afraid. Just tell the truth." The words wrapped around her like a warm blanket. No one had ever spoken to her that way. She took a deep breath and allowed her voice to rise. "I do not want to go with them," she said clearly, "and I did not agree to any contract." A wave of shock moved through the crowd. Even without sight, she felt it. Aiden stood again, confident. "Then, this transaction is illegal. Until we have a proper investigation, she stays under station protection." Valor snapped. "You have no authority here." Aiden replied calmly, "The law does." The Dominion representatives grew angry. But they could not openly break interstellar regulation in front of witnesses. The station guards stepped in, creating a barrier between the sides. Leora felt herself being gently guided away from the danger by Aiden's steady hand on her arm. His touch was careful and respectful, nothing like the cold grip she had felt earlier. As they moved to a quieter area, she whispered, "Why did you help me?" Aiden answered as if the question surprised him. "Because you needed help." It was simple, but to Leora, it was powerful. No one had ever helped her simply because they cared. She listened to his footsteps as he guided her down a corridor. They were different from other footsteps she had known, strong but not harsh, steady but not arrogant. His presence filled the space with warmth, like the gentle sun she could feel but not see. They reached a small waiting room. Aiden helped her sit, describing the chair so she wouldn't stumble. He spoke slowly, making sure she understood her surroundings. "We'll sort this out," he said softly. "You're safe for now." Sina. Leora felt her body relax for the first time that day. Someone was finally treating her like a person, not a burden. She tried to imagine what humans looked like, but it didn't matter. She didn't need sight to know the truth. Aiden was the first person in years to show her pure kindness. She turned her head slightly toward him. "Thank you," she whispered. He sat nearby, his presence comforting and steady. "You're welcome." For the first time in her life, Leora felt something new. a feeling she had never allowed herself to imagine. Hope. Commander Aiden stayed near Princess Leora as the station guards blocked off the room from the chaos outside. The soft hum of the trade station vibrated through the floor. Leora sat quietly, hands folded on her lap, listening to everything around her. Aiden noticed how still she became when she focused, as if sound itself painted her world. "You're safe here," Aiden said gently. Leora turned her head toward his voice. "I believe you." She didn't understand why she trusted him so easily, but she did. It was instinctive, as natural as breathing. Aiden spoke with kindness that carried no hidden motive behind it. His emotions felt clear to her, steady, protective, honest. She had never sensed such gentleness from someone she barely knew. The door opened, and a station officer stepped inside. "Commander Rook, we will begin an official inquiry soon. We need your report." Aiden nodded. "Of course." But before following the officer, he turned to Leora. "I'll be right back." Leora felt a strange wave of disappointment when he stepped away. She hadn't been alone for long, but being near him felt like standing on solid ground. Without him, she felt the weight of uncertainty pressing in again. While waiting, she listened to distant sounds, people arguing in different languages, footsteps on metal floors, ship engines rumbling far away. The emotional waves drifting from the hallway held confusion and excitement. Her escape, or rescue, or whatever it was, had already become a topic of attention. A few minutes later, Aiden returned. Leora immediately sensed his presence before he said anything. His emotions were firm, like he had made a decision. "The investigation is starting," he told her softly. "They'll ask you questions. If you prefer, I can stay beside you." "Yes," she said quickly. "Please stay." Her voice revealed more truth than she expected. Aiden smiled, even though she couldn't see it. "I'll be here." Station guards led them to a small chamber designed for interspecies hearings. Leora stepped slowly, using Aiden's arm for guidance. His movements were gentle, making sure she didn't stumble. She felt grateful for every small act of care he showed her. Inside the chamber, she sensed multiple emotional presences, some curious, some irritated, some cautious. Aiden guided her to a seat, describing its height and direction, so she could sit safely. A calm voice spoke. "Princess Leora, do you understand why you are here?" "Why?" "Yes," she answered softly. "Someone tried to take me without asking my permission." "That is correct." The official paused. "We must confirm whether you agreed to any contract or transaction involving the Dominion representatives." Leora shook her head slowly. "I did not agree to anything. I didn't even know what was happening." Leora shook her head. "I didn't even know what was happening." Her voice trembled slightly. She felt Aiden's hand rest lightly on the table near hers. Not touching, but close enough for her to feel he was there. Another voice spoke sharply. "Valor, this is a misunderstanding," he said smoothly. "My wife is confused. She doesn't see, so she misinterprets situations easily." Leora felt a sting in her chest. His emotional presence was cold and irritated. He was lying. Again. She lifted her chin. "I know what I felt. I know when someone tries to force me." Murmurs filled the room. Valor tried again. "She is fragile and doesn't understand political matters." Aiden finally spoke, his tone steady but firm. "She understands more than you think. And she said she did not give consent. That alone cancels any contract." The official agreed. "Princess Leora will remain under protection until this matter is fully inspected." Valor's anger surged like a wave. Leora felt the force of it, even though his voice remained calm. She turned her head away, unable to face the emotional cruelty she sensed in him. After the inquiry ended, the station ruled that Leora would stay temporarily with a neutral party until a deeper investigation concluded. Several representatives argued over who should watch over her, but Aiden stepped forward. "Humans will take responsibility. We have no political interest in her empire, so we are the most neutral option." A short debate followed, but eventually, the officials agreed. Leora would stay under human protection. Aiden turned to her. If it's all right with you, you'll come with us to our ship. You'll be safer there. She nodded. I want to stay with you. Her honesty surprised even her. Aiden guided her carefully through the busy station. She heard many species speaking in different tones, some soft, some sharp. Leora walked close to him, feeling the safety of his presence. Whenever someone passed too near her, Aiden subtly shifted to shield her. When they reached the docking area, Aiden paused. We're boarding the Horizon's Dawn. It's not huge, but it's comfortable. The ship's doors opened with a soft hiss. Leora stepped inside, immediately recognizing the quieter, more organized soundscape compared to the station. Human footsteps echoed in predictable patterns, and the air smelled cleaner. Commander, a cheerful female voice called from ahead. Is this the guest you mentioned? Yes, Aiden said. This is Princess Leora. Leora sensed a warm and friendly emotional presence from the woman who approached. Not pity, just curiosity and kindness. My name's Mara, she said quickly. If you need anything, just ask. We'll take care of you. Leora smiled. She could hear the sincerity in Mara's voice. Aiden helped Leora walk deeper into the ship. He showed her the edges of the walls and the direction of the corridors, letting her touch them lightly so she could form a mental picture. This area is safe and quiet, he explained. No sharp turns, no obstacles. I'll guide you until you get used to it. Leora appreciated every explanation. No one in her own palace had ever bothered describing things for her. Aiden opened the door to a small room. You can stay here, it's simple but clean. The bed is to your right, desk to your left. I'll place your things near the bed. She walked in carefully and touched the bedsheet. It was soft, unlike the stiff royal fabrics she was used to. It's perfect, she whispered. Aiden smiled again, even though she couldn't see it. If you need anything, my room is right across. I'll come if you call. When he left her alone to rest, Leora sat on the bed and exhaled slowly. Her life had changed in a single day. She had been sold like an object, rescued by a human stranger, and now she sat in the quiet warmth of a ship where no one wanted to own her. Hours later, the ship lifted off from the station. Leora felt the gentle shift in gravity as they entered open space. Aiden visited her again to check if she was comfortable. Can you tell me something? She asked softly. Of course. Why did you stop them? You didn't know me. Aiden thought for a moment. I saw someone who was scared, and I couldn't walk away. His voice was calm, but the emotions behind it were strong, protective, honest, kind. No one has ever helped me simply because they cared, Leora said. Then I hope this is the beginning of something better, Aiden replied. Later that evening, Mara invited Leora to sit with the crew in the common area. Leora hesitated, but Aiden encouraged her gently. They want to meet you. They're good people. Leora followed him. The crew spoke with easy laughter, something she wasn't used to hearing. When she entered, the conversation paused, but the emotions she sensed were friendly. A crew member said, "Welcome aboard." Another added, "If you ever need help learning your way around, I can show you." Leora smiled shyly. Their warmth surprised her. In the palace, servants obeyed her, but they did not speak to her. Here, people talked to her like she was part of their circle. She sat quietly while the crew shared stories. Aiden explained things whenever Leora looked confused. He described objects, sounds, even expressions on people's faces. He helped her understand everything she couldn't see. At one point, Leora asked Aiden, "Is it strange to help someone like me?" Aiden answered softly, "No, not strange at all." Her heart warmed. When the evening ended and Aiden escorted her back to her room, Leora paused at the doorway. "I don't know what the future holds," she said quietly, "but I'm glad you were there today." Aiden's emotions flickered with a gentle warmth she could feel clearly. "And I'm glad I could help you," he said. Leora entered her room with a small smile. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel like a burden, or a symbol, or a responsibility. For the first time, she felt like a person, and she had a strange, hopeful feeling that this was only the beginning. The horizon's dawn moved through open space with a steady hum that vibrated softly under Leora's feet. She became familiar with the rhythm of the ship, learning how the engines sounded during quiet drifting and how they changed pitch when the ship shifted direction. Every sound helped her build a picture in her mind. She had never felt so free inside any place before. Every morning, Aiden knocked lightly on her door to check on her. His knock was soft but unmistakable, always followed by the faint warmth of his presence before he even spoke. Leora always felt a small spark of comfort when she sensed him. On this particular morning, Aiden greeted her as usual. "Good morning, princess. Are you ready for breakfast?" Her lips curved in a small smile. "Only if you guide me." "I'm not going anywhere," he said gently. He offered his arm, and she placed her hand lightly on it. Together, they walked to the common area. The crew had already gathered, their voices carrying soft laughter. Leora sensed the easy friendship among them. These humans seemed to enjoy simple things: stories, meals, jokes, things Leora had never been part of. She listened, absorbing every tone and emotion, feeling like she had stepped into a different kind of world. Once she sat, Mara placed a warm cup in her hands. "It's tea," Mara explained. "Not too hot. Tell me if it's too sweet." Leora tasted it carefully. A smile spread across her face. "It's perfect." The crew cheered softly, pleased with her reaction. Leora wasn't used to people celebrating her comfort. It felt strange, but in a good way. During breakfast, Aiden explained what the day would look like. "We're heading to our temporary base. The investigation about your situation continues, but you're safe with us until the final decision is made." Leora nodded. "I am grateful. I don't know how I would face it alone." "You won't face it alone," Aiden said, his tone firm. After breakfast, Aiden gave Leora a tour of more areas of the ship so she could memorize them. He guided her slowly, sometimes letting her touch the walls to understand their shape. He described every room in simple words. "This is the navigation room," he said. "There are screens here that show the stars outside. Lots of blinking points of light." Leora tilted her head slightly. "Can you describe them for me?" "Well," Aiden said thoughtfully, "they look like tiny sparks on a black cloth. Some stars are bright, some are faint. They feel endless." Leora smiled softly. "Your description makes them sound beautiful." "They are," Aiden said, "but I think you understand beauty in your own way." His voice carried a warmth that made Leora's heart flutter in a way she didn't understand. She lowered her head shyly. He continued guiding her. "This hallway leads to engineering. It gets hot sometimes, and the air smells different." As they walked, she heard the faint buzz of machinery and felt the warmth of the room reaching them. She could sense the concentration of the workers inside, their emotions focused and calm. "Humans rely on each other so much," Leora said after a moment. "Your crew's feelings are easy to sense. Everyone supports one another." Aiden nodded. "That's how we survive. Everyone matters." The words soothed something deep inside her. She had never been treated like someone who mattered. Not truly. Later in the day, the ship hit a small patch of turbulence. The hull shook gently, and Leora instinctively reached for stability. Aiden caught her hand before she stumbled. "It's all right," he said, steadying her. "Just a small shift in gravity. It'll pass." She squeezed his hand. "Thank you." He didn't let go until she was calm again. In the afternoon, the crew invited her to sit with them again. They talked about their home planets, their families, and their old adventures. Leora listened to every story, fascinated by how humans expressed everything through emotions, laughter, excitement, surprise. She never had such open, lively conversations in the palace. There, everyone spoke formally, carefully choosing words so they wouldn't offend someone important. Aiden noticed Leora smiling more as she listened. When she laughed softly at one of the crew's jokes, the entire room brightened. "You fit in well," Mara said kindly. It's like you've always been here. Leora's cheeks warmed. You all make me feel welcome. Aiden sat across from her, observing her reactions. He admired how quickly she adapted, how brave she was in a world she couldn't see. He had helped many people before, but something about Leora touched him differently. He found himself wanting to protect her more than required. Later that evening, Aiden invited her to the observation deck. She could not see the stars, but he wanted her to experience the space around them. When they entered, the room felt spacious. Leora sensed the openness and quietness immediately. There's a large window in front of us, Aiden said softly. We're facing a nebula. It's like a huge cloud in space. It has colors pink, blue, purple. The stars shine through it like tiny dots. Leora closed her eyes, imagining it. Describe it more. Aiden stepped closer, speaking slowly. Imagine a soft cloud stretching across the universe. It glows gently, like a dream. It spreads in every direction. And when the light hits it, it looks like it's alive, like it's breathing. Leora felt her breath catch. His words painted images she had never experienced before. She felt something warm rising inside her chest. You speak beautifully, she whispered. I only describe what I see, he said. You make it sound alive, she replied. Maybe you feel it more than I can see it, Aiden said gently. They stood quietly for a while. Leora sensed a soft, steady emotion radiating from Aiden. Something calm, strong, and warm. She wasn't sure what it meant, but it made her feel safe. When they returned to the hallway, she turned toward him. Aiden, may I ask you something? Of course. Why did you stay with me this whole day, even when your crew could have guided me? Aiden paused before answering. Because I want you to feel safe, and because I enjoy your company. She felt her heart beat faster. No one has ever said that to me before. Aiden spoke gently. Then they don't know what they're missing. Leora lowered her head, overwhelmed by the sincerity she sensed from him. She felt no pity, no obligation, only genuine care. That night, she lay in her bed, thinking about him. She remembered the warmth in his voice, the steady pattern of his footsteps, the way he described the nebula. She felt something she had never experienced. Comfort mixed with hope. The next morning, the ship received a transmission from the Astravir Empire. Aiden listened carefully as the message played. Commander Rook, the official voice said. Prince Valor demands the return of Princess Leora. He claims she was taken illegally. Aiden's jaw tightened. That is a lie. She was forced into a transaction. I have witnesses. We are still investigating, the voice said. Until then, keep her safe. Further instructions will follow. Aiden ended the call with a frustrated sigh. Leora sensed his emotions before he even entered her room. She stood up calmly. Something is wrong. Aiden nodded slowly. Your husband is trying to bring you back, but don't worry. The law is on your side. Her voice trembled. Will they force me to return? No, Aiden said firmly. As long as you say no, no one can force you. She exhaled in relief but still felt worry. He will not stop. I know him. Aiden gently touched her hand. Then we won't stop either. She felt a strong wave of courage pass through her. Aiden believed in her, maybe more than she believed in herself. The following days were filled with small moments of connection. Aiden taught her how to navigate the ship by sound alone. She learned the difference between the hum of different systems. She learned every voice in the crew. She even learned how to hold a small communicator device so she could call for help any time, but she rarely needed it, because Aiden was always nearby. One evening, as they walked together along the corridor, Leora asked a quiet question. Aiden, what do you think of me? He answered without hesitation. I think you are brave, stronger than you know, and kinder than most people I've met. Her chest tightened with emotion. I don't feel strong. You are, Aiden said. Strength isn't about seeing. It's about choosing who you want to be. She smiled softly. Then I choose this. I choose to stay with the humans. Aiden paused, surprised and touched. We're honored to have you. Leora felt a warm emotion rising between them. Something gentle. Something unexpected. That night, as she returned to her room, she realized something important. She was no longer afraid of the future, because for the first time in her life, she had someone standing with her, not out of duty, not for politics, but out of pure kindness. And she couldn't help wondering what her heart was slowly becoming. Aldrin woke before sunrise the next day, long before the city shifted into its usual rhythm. He sat beside the balcony with a quiet mind, feeling the soft morning wind on his face. The sky was still dark, but faint colors had started to push away the night. He knew today would change everything. It was the day he would stand before alien leaders, powerful councils, and many eyes that did not trust him. But he also knew he would not stand alone. Leora would be beside him, and that truth gave him strength. Inside the room, Leora slowly rose from her seat near the window. She had been awake for some time, listening to the city, listening to Aldrin breathe, listening to her own thoughts. She knew that this day would decide her future. It would decide if she could finally live free, without fear, without being used by those who saw her blindness as a weakness. She could not see the sun rising, but she felt the warm shift in the air and sensed the hope Aldrin carried. She reached out, and Aldrin gently took her hand. He guided her toward the balcony, letting her feel the new day around her. He spoke softly, with a calm voice that balanced her nerves. He told her that no matter what the council said, he would stand for her. He promised her that today she would not be silenced, bought, or traded. She would speak her truth for the first time in her life. Leora felt his words warm her heart. She believed him, not because he promised but because of how he lived. He had shown her kindness when she expected cruelty. He had shown her respect when she expected dismissal. He had shown her honesty when she expected lies. She held his hand a little tighter, steadying herself for the trial ahead. Hours later, they walked together through the long halls of the Galactic Hall of Truth. The building was massive, shaped by ancient alien architecture, full of gold-colored stone and bright glass that glowed from within. Aldrin looked around with quiet awe, but Leora simply listened. She knew this place from memory, not from sight. She had been brought here in chains before. This time, she walked freely, and every step felt different. Dozens of alien leaders from different worlds had gathered inside the grand chamber. They whispered when they saw Aldrin, the lone human, walking with the blind princess. Many had never seen a human before, and some still believed humans were unpredictable creatures who should not participate in interplanetary affairs. Others looked at Aldrin with open distrust, believing that no human had the right to stand beside royalty from advanced worlds. Aldrin ignored their voices. He focused on Leora, guiding her to the center platform where they would speak. She followed calmly, her chin raised, her posture strong. She would not show fear today. She had lived a life filled with fear, and she refused to return to that shadow. At the far side of the chamber, the council members took their seats. There were 12 of them, each representing a powerful world. They controlled decisions about treaties, justice, and conflicts. They had summoned Leora because a complaint had been made by her former husband, who claimed she belonged to him. The council now had to decide if she would return to him or live freely. Her former husband stood on another platform, dressed in sharp royal clothing, wearing a mask of calm confidence. But underneath, his anger twisted like a storm. He could not accept that Leora had left him. He could not accept that a human, an ordinary man from a young species, had protected her. He bowed to the council with exaggerated respect, pretending to be a noble man seeking justice. When the chamber fell silent, the council leader began. He asked Leora's former husband to speak first. The alien man stepped forward and began to present his case. His voice was smooth, trained, and practiced. He spoke of tradition. He spoke of royal rights. He spoke of laws that allowed him to decide his wife's fate. He claimed he had never harmed Leora. He claimed he had offered her a good life. He claimed she had been influenced by Aldrin and tricked into running away. Leora stood quietly while listening. She did not tremble. She waited with patience, letting him speak all his lies. She had once been afraid of his voice, but not today. When he finished, Aldrin expected the council to question him, but instead they turned to Leora. The leader of the council asked her to step forward and speak her truth. Many in the hall leaned forward with curiosity. They had never heard the blind princess speak openly before. She took a slow breath and stepped up to the platform. The hall was quiet, and her voice carried gently through the air. She spoke in simple, clear words. She said that she had never felt safe with her former husband. She said that he never respected her as a person. She said that he treated her blindness as something to control, not something to protect. She described how she had been used as a symbol, kept away from public view, and sold when it suited his political plans. Her voice trembled only once, but she kept going with steady strength. She told the council that Aldrin had shown her a life she had never known. He did not treat her as weak. He did not demand anything from her. He did not use her for gain. He simply treated her like a person with a voice. She said that true respect was more valuable than royal power. A low murmur moved across the hall. Many had not expected such honesty. Some were moved. Some were shocked. Her former husband tried to interrupt, claiming she was lying. But the council silenced him. Now it was Aldrin's turn to speak. He walked to the center with steady steps, knowing many eyes watched him. He did not use big words. He did not speak like a politician or a royal advisor. He spoke simply and truthfully. He said he did not want Leora for power. He did not want anything from her at all. He only wanted her to live a life where she chose her own path. He told them that humans believed in freedom. He told them that kindness was stronger than control. He told them that no one should be owned, no matter their rank or weakness. His voice carried a sincerity that felt uncommon in the council hall. Some council members leaned back, clearly surprised. They had expected a human to fight, argue, or demand something. They had not expected quiet honesty. After both sides spoke, the council asked questions. They tried to find any flaws in Aldrin's statements, but they found none. They tried to find any proof in the former husband's defense, but everything he said was supported by fear, not truth. The council left to make their decision. The hall remained in heavy silence during the wait. Aldrin and Leora stood side by side, close but not touching, giving each other strength. Leora's former husband kept pacing, growing angrier with every passing moment. Finally, the council returned. The leader stepped forward and announced the final decision. Leora was declared free. Her former husband lost all claims over her. His actions were judged dishonorable, driven by pride rather than justice. He was ordered to leave the hall immediately. The moment the words echoed through the chamber, Leora felt a wave of emotion rise inside her. She did not cry, but her breath shook with relief. Aldrin placed a gentle hand on her arm, and she turned toward him with a soft, grateful smile. The council also made a surprising second announcement. They recognized Aldrin's actions as a rare act of courage and integrity from a human. They welcomed him as an honored ally, giving him rights to stay in their world without restrictions. Many leaders nodded with respect. Some looked at him with new curiosity. When the hall dismissed, Leora and Aldrin walked out together, feeling lighter than they had in days. The city outside shined brightly, full of new possibilities. The world no longer felt like a cage to Leora. It felt like a beginning. Aldrin told her that wherever she wanted to go next, he would walk with her. She smiled and said she wanted to build a life where kindness shaped their future. A life chosen, not forced. As they walked into the sunlight, Leora reached out and held Aldrin's hand. This time, it was not for guidance. It was for connection. It was for hope, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly free.